Well, hey folks, back on the creek today. Not quite sure where we're gonna dig yet. We're back in this beautiful little spot though. I'm sitting on bedrock, my feet are on bedrock. It kind of dives down as it goes to that side, but when we first got here, I went upstream there where all the bigger rocks are, and I took some test pans. A little bit of black sand here and there, no color, so I decided to come down and work this bedrock someplace again. Not quite sure where we're gonna dig, but we'll find a spot and start digging. Now last time we were right down here above that tree that's across the creek down there that you can see. Well, maybe we'll continue in there, but I'm not quite sure yet. Regardless, it's a beautiful day and a beautiful spot. Just out enjoying. Stay tuned and see where we dig and see what we find. Alright, having fun. Okay, this is what I've decided to do. We're going to work right up here in this spot right here. You can see the bedrock here. We don't know how deep it is down there in the gravels, but it is exposed again right down here. Let me show you. See, right in here it gets exposed again. And it drops off right there. See that line? That's the edge. So it drops off again. We don't know if this slab is broke to here, but that would make sense. So that means it's even deeper than what it looks like here. So up here we could have, I don't know, 18 inches, 2 feet of gravel on top of that, maybe more, we're not quite sure. But what interests me in this spot right here, of course we don't know if there's gold in this spot. We have gotten gold right over here before, but it widens out right here. It's rather narrow up through there. You can see the size of the stones. See how big all those stones are? That means there's more current washing the lighter material away. And then once we get down here, they start getting smaller in here. They are still large, but they're smaller. But it's because this area widens right out. Now let me back up down this way without falling down. These stones are kind of slippery. Back up here. Now do you see how much wider it is right here? And we have this push, what I call a push in the bedrock. So not only does bedrock force currents to the other side of the creek, when the water's coming down through here, it'll get hung up here and more current will be pushed to this side, but it also rolls in here. It has somewhat of a roll in here, so it's going to hold that water back some. Kind of like in a sluice box when the end of your sluice box is underwater, you know, the top's running good and the bottom is underwater too much and your material backs up in there. Same thing happens in here. So we're going to dig in here and see if anything was held back and pushed against that bedrock. Alright, the material is looking pretty good already. I found an edge of the bedrock right there. And on the front edge, let me back up so you know where I mean. It's hard to tell on camera, right? So there's the edge of the bedrock there. We already found the edge. Look at this, it's kind of like a clay. Got some clay going on in there. It's not quite clay, but that's some pretty sticky stuff. It's almost clay, so that's usually a good sign. I'll keep digging, get a pail, and run to the sluice. Alright, we started running the first half a bucket, and I just wanted to show you something here, dealing with the height of the water coming through your box. Now as you can see, it looks like my box is running pretty good. You see the V coming down through the middle of the box as it should. You're not always going to have a V, but a lot of times you will. But that's not what I'm talking about. The water in my box, there's too much of it. Stick my finger in there. You see how high up on my finger it is? To me, that's too much water coming through the box, too high of water. And the reason I believe that is because you want the material that you put in your box, any material, to actually make contact with whatever system of classification you got through your box, if that makes sense. Whatever matting or ribs or riffles or whatever, the material has to make contact with your system in order for the system to do its job properly. And when the water is too high, it allows your material to be suspended easier in the water, and it makes less contact with the bottom. And especially when you're dealing in areas like we are right now, the material is really sticky, so it could hold on to gold. We want our material rolling down and making contact with our system to release that gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this box up a little bit in the front to get less water coming into the head of it. And I might have to raise the bottom so that the pitch isn't too extreme. So I'm going to do that before I run any more material, and I'll show you what I mean when I'm done. Okay, I've lifted up the front like I said I was going to do, and I didn't have to raise the back. What I did was I put a couple half-inch stones underneath the front of it. We got plenty of water flow today, so I don't have to worry about closing the bottom of it up there. So I put a couple half-inch stones, and I pulled the box upstream. And that is being at an angle, the more you pull it upstream, the higher it is in the water column, right? So now we got a better flow, or better height of water coming through our box. Now when I put a scoop of material on there, it takes the same amount of time to start off the top and get worked up off the front of the box. But as it comes down through the box, it's traveling slower through my box. It's making more contact with the bottom, which slows the material down. Let's put another one on there, and I'll put the camera down through there so you can watch how it's going slower. You might not be able to notice, but it's slowed down significantly. That tells me we're running at a more proper flow, proper height of water in our box. Okay, check this out. See a big old nugget? Now that would fool any prospector, right? That looks like a nugget, right? Well, I already know what it is. I've dealt with this over and over and over throughout my 20 years, 15, 20 years of prospecting. What it is road paint. And that road paint will have almost the same color yellow as a nugget. You see that? Yep, that's road paint. You break it right up. That's the yellow paint off the road. Fooled me many, many times. Nothing in that. 2.5 buckets, nothing in there. Our theory was wrong, but that's okay. I enjoy having wrong theories occasionally. That's how we learn. We learn where it isn't. That's just as important to me as where it is. Alright, well, we're going to pick a spot. We'll probably go back down where we were before and work on that bedrock down there, but we'll see. Let's go down that way. We came downstream and we kind of just chose this spot right here. I dug down in there. It's a little tough digging, so that's good. But if you look, you got a couple big rocks right in a line here. You see them? One right there, one right there. And as we turn around, we stay in that line, right? Stay right in that line. And the material starts building up right through here. See it? We were digging down there before. Last time we were here last week or a couple weeks ago, whatever. We'll set the sluice up down there. Take a bucket from right in here. This spot I'm choosing just kind of willy-nilly. I see the bedrock's over there and it drops off, so there's a hole here. And we're kind of in line with that, so we'll start here and we'll work our way in. Just see what happens. Beautiful day. And it's in the shade right here. That's nice. Okay, we got our first half bucket from our new spot right up there. Tried setting the sluice up there, it didn't quite work right. The main force of the current was coming too straight in. And when we tried to pitch it off, it was bringing too much current one side, you know. So we moved it over to here, and it seems to be running good. This is where we had it set up before. But let me show you, we already got a piece of gold right there. A lot of glare today, not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Kind of right off the end of my finger. Yeah, right there. Looks like we got a pretty good flow. We might have to adjust the box a little bit, but we'll see. Alright. Looking good. Alrighty. We'll keep feeding her. She's hungry. Okay, when you first set up your sluice, you're going to have a bunch of lights in there. You see all the lighter material in there? You might not be able to see it, but it's mostly light material in there. Now don't worry about that. As long as the material looks like it's flowing properly and coming in contact with the system that you have in place, just give it time. That's what a box does. It exchanges heavies for light, exchanges lights for heavies rather. So as those lights work in there, heavy stuff will drop in there and then it'll kick a piece of light stuff out. Give it time, it'll add up and it'll look right. We ran that other half bucket. I think I see one other little flake in there, but just wanted to show you the material we're down on now. Look at that clay, huh? Some even brownier clay, see that? That looks pretty good. But it's weird, it's like flat rocks are a little higher, then they got smaller and more round, and then a lot of fine material. So that's what we're into now. We'll see how that looks, huh? Okay, that last bucket's empty. It's gonna be the last one. We did pick up a piece of lead right there in the middle of the screen, light colored there. I see one other little speck. We'll do a cleanup on this. We'll let it clean out on its own for a little bit, and then we'll do a cleanup and see what gold we got. Well, we didn't do so good on the quantity of gold today. We got 2 flakes that I see here. I might have missed one. Let me show them to you though. You can see them right there. There's my finger for size. 2 little flakes, hunk of lead right there. Like I said earlier, you know, I like learning where the gold isn't as well. And we got 2 little flakes in there. I think that if we ever dig in that area again, we're gonna move a little bit and maybe just stay high and get all the high material off there. The gold might be coming down that bedrock and flowing off, and as it comes to this side, it just kind of settles on the top out of the main current. Gets on a flat rock and stays there possibly. But I had fun. We might go do something else. I've been thinking about going back to the one bottle dump, the old one, and digging around there for a little bit. So maybe we'll do that, but first let's go get some lunch. Well, I stopped to do a little metal detecting, found half a harmonica reed, not much else. I had fun on the creek today though. Hopefully you did too. I'll see you on the next one. Not sure what we'll do, but we'll do something. And until then, and as always, have fun.